What's up everyone and welcome to CG Market Watch. Today we'll be covering a very important topic about when will crypto gain mainstream adoption. So today I think in world news we had Visa, right? Just basically having issues and across Europe where you could not even pay with your Visa credit card and probably potentially your debit card as well, right? And I think the thing is, right now if you talk about credit, or at least digital credit, it's very, very important for every one of us. And I think from an adoption perspective, right, when will we actually be able to have full-on adoption, and do we actually need blockchain and cryptocurrencies if the existing system isn't broke? But having said that, with Visa's centralized system, right, that just happened, imagine that if this was something that was to drag on longer, or it would affect your banking needs, right? I think Visa did a kind of a good job where it was able to kind of do the service recovery within 24 hours from what I heard. And in fact, it made less than 24 hours. I think it was 5 hours, and not only that, they were willing to compensate. How accurate the compensation was, or were these people affected, especially consumers and merchants? I think feel free to comment below, especially if you're watching this video, on what happened and was it a big deal? So guys, what's your take? I mean, if let's say for example you were shopping in Europe, or you were just basically wanting to pay for your bills and stuff like that, and you could not use your credit card, would it be a big deal for you?
Yeah, kind of. Like, I mean, if I'm out on a date, right, and I want to swipe. Come on, man, I want to swipe my Visa card and it didn't go through. That doesn't mean I don't have money. It was the outage of Visa, right? Okay. And that's why you always need to have alternative cards. I'm not gonna say other brands, but you get what I mean. But yeah, that could be one of the situation. Or when what Ryan mentioned, when you buy luxury brands or products, and you walk to Hermes and stuff, and you want to buy something, and then you realize, hey, my transaction is not going through, and so what am I supposed to pay with?
First world problem stuff, right?
Yeah, first world problem stuff.
So what about you, Mike? I mean, Mike, you're more of a practical guy.
It was bad, but it wasn't the worst. See, it's a short period of time. The ATMs were still working. I can just put money and pay with like regular fiat.
But I had to walk to an ATM, I need to find it.
Wow. So
sorry,
you couldn't pay for like maybe your beer, and you had to walk to an ATM to draw cash, while people in South Africa have to walk like 5 miles just to get water. First world problems indeed. Well, that being said, I think cryptocurrencies, let's talk about what's simple at the moment, which is cryptocurrencies. Right now, I think Bitcoin Cash, especially, right, especially Roger Ver, he's working very, very hard at his events. He's going around, he's starting his blogs, and at the same time, he's basically in Tokyo at the moment promoting BCH. Right? And I think it's a good thing where he still follows the original white paper. I noticed that all his videos get a lot of hate. It's very unique when he's trying to really allow people to use Bitcoin for, or at least Bitcoin Cash for a fraction of the cost that it is right now. Because right now, if you were to pay for drinks, for example, it's not cheap. Right? You must think of it from a practical sense, where if it's $1 or so, or maybe 80 cents, and you were to say spend $1.50, but you have to pay 80 cents to use the network, that's not very favorable. But if you're using Bitcoin to transfer huge sums of cash, I think it's okay. But the problem is that's not practical. Not everyone wants to transfer huge sums of cash. So Roger Ver is on the way to kind of promote this real world adoption, and he's making sure that from a merchant standpoint, it's probably going to be more favorable. So good luck to you on your ventures, Roger. I think this is something that we all need. I mean, it's not just about Bitcoin Cash, but in general, right? Because I would personally love to spend my cryptocurrencies. But at the moment, most of these merchants are overseas. I'm not sure of their credibility. That's one problem. I mean, honestly, would you be compelled to spend money on an online merchant, okay, with an online merchant, and just maybe transfer cryptocurrencies? Are you at that stage yet?
I mean, unlike Visa, right, I don't get compensated. See?
Yeah,
Visa will compensate me if I spend wrongly.
That's true. There's still that level of protection, right, for the consumer. See, these are all these things.
Like, fend for myself.
I think it's very scary, especially in this space. Like for example, I had a little bit of a scare, right? So especially if you are someone who is in with Quantum, right? I was staking my Quantum coins on my Core wallet, and what happened was it did not display. right? The tokens were not there. So at that point, I was like thinking, you know, if you're with a bank, of course, right, you at least can kind of call and ask what happened to my balance, right? Or at least go to a branch. I actually had my tokens, they were not displayed on my wallet. I was like, wow, I was a bit shocked. I was a bit nerve-wracked, to be honest, right? But what was great, what I'm very grateful for is that the developer team were very fast to respond. Okay, despite the fact that they are also busy on building the platform, they did respond rather quickly, and I actually got assistance from the community, right, which is one of the community managers. His name was Jackson. He helped to solve the issue, but like I said, was it good for the mainstream? No. I would say that it's very, very challenging, guys, because I had to do quite a sequence of things before I could get back my coins. But that's because I'm part of the space, but I'm not a programmer, so he had to walk me through. So it wasn't as easy and effective, and he could not rectify it on his end. I had to be savvy enough to be able to rectify it on my end with instructions. So you see, the space is still developing. So that brings us to our next point, which is, when is crypto or blockchain applications ready for the masses to use? I mean, when was the very first, you know, application? I mean, Mike, you know, you're
application.
Yeah, I mean, would you know?
1940s.
How the heck do you know this kind of shit? Okay, so what website was it anyway, or what was the application?
The application is like binary code to store data on the computer. Like when the first computers came out, the first apps to do it was like, okay, it's a very rough term for application. It's just coding stuff.
Okay.
But okay, the first, what do I call it, website. You want to guess when it came out?
No. I mean, I wouldn't know. Like, would you know?
The same year that I was born, 1991.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh.
Okay, and was it?
No, it looks horrible.
It looks horrible.
It's like black and white text.
Like
okay.
Like this same year? Or?
That's like a low ball.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thanks for that. Shot,
So you're saying that the very first app was 1940, but the very first website was 1991. So that is like 51 years.
Just take the very first computers are 1940s.
Really?
Very first,
Shit.
yeah.
So guys, I mean, what do you all think? Like, will cryptocurrencies and blockchain take 50 years for adoption? I kind of like, okay, I would like to maybe have my say. I think, being that we are more savvy now, that we are more tech-based, I think the fact that my kids are savvy enough that they know how to use an iPhone and even an iPad. I mean, my daughter is only 6 years old, right? And I wouldn't say that she needs to do any kind of programming. I think ultimately it's all about being user-friendly. So for crypto at the moment and its applications, I wouldn't say it's very user-friendly. Okay? But you have probably some kind of comments to that, like some opinion. Okay.
Uses the Brave browser also.
Okay, okay.
People not in the crypto space also use the Brave browser. My friend who does programming, he likes it.
So what's the Brave browser? I mean, what's the Brave browser all about?
It's a browser.
Yeah, it's a browser, but it shows you like how
Why
many
don't you use
seconds.
Mozilla? Why don't you use Google Chrome?
Because we're trying to find the because they show you how many seconds you save by blocking your ads.
Yeah.
So you can't do that with existing ad blockers?
You can,
You can, yeah.
So what's the incentive for me using the Brave browser anyway? See?
Okay,
That's a very tough question.
There are
There
programming
is.
reasons. There are programming reasons. I just don't know them.
Right.
So I take other people's word for it.
So
just
you see-
like cryptocurrency.
So that is one of those cases. Like, you see, we are part of the space. We are, although not tech people, but we are trying very hard to kind of understand it even for ourselves. So the whole idea right now is to kind of allow we are trying to bridge the space. I think everyone's trying to bridge the space. So there are enthusiasts, professionals, there are the developers who are behind the scenes working very, very hard to bring this technology to the real world. But the real world, is the real world really ready? I would say not. So right now, before we end off on the video, how long before actual adoption? Mike?
18 years.
Wait,
Full adoption lah.
18
Full adoption.
years.
18 years.
Oh,
How do you
okay,
even get-
18 years,
you
right?
get a
Okay, why
strange
18
number?
years?
Because first we have to get adopted by like people other than speculators.
Sure.
Then they have to build the technology, integrate into all the different fields, like long established fields. People have to get used to it. It has to like go through tweaks to make sure that it works. Then it has to match up to our current standards. So 18 years are one generation apart.
Okay,
Nice.
18 years. What about yourself?
I would say 12 years, 2030.
2030, okay.
Yeah, because I mean, when you think about it, like Bitcoin's half rate would reach at that point in time, you know, probably half at least 2 or 3 times. Right?
But why would the halving matter? What's the rationale?
Is it because Bitcoin will get more valuable in that sense, right? Because of the halving effect and things like that. So more attention will be on Bitcoin and what it can do, and therefore more attention will be on cryptocurrencies and blockchain. I mean, blockchain is really getting a lot of attention from IBM, big corporations.
Kind of attention.
Yeah, kind of, but they are still developing on it. They are working on things, right? It's slow, yes, but with the development, I think 10 to 12 years will be a great estimate. Yeah, and for the technology to catch up with that, I think that's important. That's my own take.
Well, my take is that I actually see it in the next 5 to 8 years. Why is that so? Because I think currently now, the fact that we have enough tech people, right? I'm very bullish about the space because there are enough professionals already that already know how to code. Like you have India, you have the Vietnamese, you have people who are from Eastern Europe. They are fantastic professionals in the space. And of course, America and China, right? These are giants for the space of tech, right? Now it's only about the programming language and in terms of getting, whether you're choosing to be decentralized or centralized, or maybe you want to have a mixture of both. And also, it's a protocol, meaning that you can integrate it to your existing legacy systems or your existing database. So I would say 5 to 8 years.
Okay.
What are your thoughts? How long do you think blockchain adoption will take, especially for cryptocurrencies and of course the eventual use cases?
Shall I make a long-term bet?
What's the bet?
What?
Whoever wins first.
Yeah, 1 BTC?
1
BTC?
Yeah, 1 BTC.
0.5 lah.
0.5. Okay, what are the parameters? Feel free to let us know what are the parameters, and of course, if whoever gets it right gets 1 BTC. I mean, if it's 5 to 8 years and 1 BTC.
So if it's 18 years later,
18 years later, and if you get 1 BTC, what if it's 100,000?
What, below a million?
Yeah.
18 years.
Okay.
So, folks, that's all the time that we have for CG Market Watch. Feel free to put your comments below. How long will it take for this adoption? Alright, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.